Hi, this is the video for Daf Shevui, Daf Yod Tet of Masechet Ketubot. We have been going on a lot about a principle that everyone loves to think about, the Pesha Asar Hu HaPesh Hitir. The mouth that prohibits is the same mouth that permits. And the case that we're talking about in the Mishnah that comes up in the beginning of Daf Yod Tet, or is referred to in the beginning of Daf Yod Tet and the end of Daf Yod Chet, is a person who says, that was my handwriting, or witnesses that come say, I did sign that document. However, I was forced to do so, or I was a child at the time, therefore my signature should not count, or that I was somehow disqualified for being a witness. And at the end of Daf Yod Chet, we have a Braita, a Tanaitic, non-Mishnaic source, where we have Rabbi Meir who says, Ein ne'amanim lefosro. They are not allowed to invalidate the document. In other words, when witnesses come and say, yes, we signed that document, however, our signatures are invalid for one of those three reasons, they are not believed to invalidate the document, which means that Rabbi Meir disagrees with the entire Mishnah and with the principle of a pesha asar hu a pesha hitir, the mouth that forbade is the mouth that permits. However, the Talmud doesn't really believe that he disagrees with the entire principle. Rather, he thinks that this specific instance is different. In other words, there is some extenuating circumstances in the case of the document signing that implies that Rabbi Meir would not allow the witnesses to disqualify the document. And the Gemara goes through them one at a time. I just want to show briefly the commonality at them. The reason why he doesn't allow somebody to disqualify the document by saying that they were disqualified witnesses, in other words, they were somehow inherently invalid as witnesses, perhaps they were gamblers, perhaps they were relatives, is that we have an assumption that the lender, the creditor, checks first, and therefore there's no way that the person who's loaning out this money would allow these people to sign the document unless he was sure, the creditor, that they were both valid to be edim, witnesses, or that they were not ktanim, that they were not minors. So whenever we see their name on a debt document, we can be sure that the creditor checked. Now, this reasoning doesn't work for the case of we were forced, because if they're saying the creditor himself or forced us to sign this debt document so that he could make the borrower, the accused borrower, if you will, liable to pay the creditor money, then obviously there's no sense in saying that he checks to make sure they're valid witnesses, because they're accusing him of forcing them to sign the document. So there, the Gemara originally says that if edim should never sign a debt, because Rabbi Meir holds if somebody says to the person, chitmu sheker ve'al tehargu, sign falsely or I'm going to kill you. In other words, if you sign falsely, I won't kill you, but if you don't sign, I'm going to kill you. They should allow themselves to be killed and not sign falsely, which the Gemara immediately notes is against the general rule that a person should transgress if told or forced to do so under duress of life, except for three circumstances: murder, idolatry, and committing a sexual prohibition. And this is not one of those three. So why should a person not sign falsely when threatened with his life? And the answer that the Rishonim seem to give is that it's not that somebody has to sign falsely, has to martyr themselves in order to not sign falsely. In other words, if someone puts a gun to your head and says, either sign this document or I'm going to kill you, the bottom line is they're allowed to sign this document. However, people take the signing of documents very seriously. They're testifying to something very seriously, and they wouldn't do so except for under great threat. It's as if they wouldn't do, it's as if they were threatened by their life. They would not do so. So therefore, we can assume that no one would sign a document under such circumstances. Now, the Gemara rejects that and ultimately gives another reason, but I thought that was interesting, that it's not so much that a person has to be martyred rather than sign falsely. That's crazy. But the idea is that inherently people take these things very seriously, so we cannot so easily assume that somebody signed falsely under threat. People just would not do such things.